most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you, dear Lord, for allowing us all to gather here this morning. Dear Lord, we just pray that you don't keep us to be open-minded and make sound decisions for our family. Lord, we just thank you for all that you do. We ask that you forgive us for our everyday sins. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Welcome everybody to our meeting today. Let the record show that all the commissioners are present. At this time, I'd like to open it up for citizen comments, but these are only going to be comments of something other than the public hearing. So if you have any comments that you'd like to talk about, we'll give you time right now to speak. Does anyone wish to speak to the commissioners in the public comment section? Okay, I thought y'all were all here for the public hearing. So, all right, we'll keep going then.
Judge, I got a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So public hearing is on the reinvestment zone, correct?
That's right.
Well, I have a couple of comments, not concerning the reinvestment zone. Would you like me to wait? I can wait. It's simpler, but it's not necessarily a reinvestment zone.
If you got something that relates to the wind farm at all,
Okay?
I wish you'd wait.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead then and go to item number 3. And I want to apologize. All my help was out last week with COVID and hospitals, and I actually did this. I think I got 1 or 2 of the numbers wrong. Hopefully forgive me on that. Let's go ahead and go with the consent agenda item, which should be item number 6. I trust the commissioner has had a chance to take a look at that. Be happy to open up discussion on the consent agenda. Now, we're gonna put it on the consent agenda if you like it. So if they have a motion to approve it, would you like to approve it?
So, a motion, I'd like a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, let's make sure, number 1, let me ask everyone, if you don't mind, I turned my cell phone down. If I didn't, I knew it'd go off. So please, turn your cell phones down if you don't mind. I want to keep up with this because our actual public hearing starts at 9:15, so we can get a few other things done real quick, okay? Let's go first off to the regular agenda item, approved reports for officials. Let's go down the line. Let me see if I can see any of our officials here. Brian? Nothing, Kenneth? Okay, anybody else? Sheriff?
Yes, sir.
The meeting I was packing also. This morning's jail population went 139, have 108 males, 31 females. We're holding 5 in Leon County, 19 in Freestone County, and 5 in Bell County. For the month, November, our transport, we had about almost 90 man hours and then over 3,000 miles traveled, for a total of $3,385. We did have one inmate that was life flight in the first part of the month. It was in the hospital for a considerable amount of time. So it was becoming very
Any other reports? Anyway, okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve those reports as presented.
So
We do have a motion, and it sounds like a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Let's go down to number 3, one of the most important things on our agenda today, and that's discuss the county burn ban. Matt, you continue reading okay, we will take any action, the burn ban will remain off, okay? Let's go down to item number 7, and that's going to be discussing take action on interlocal agreement between Limestone County and the Mahia Fire Department and Ambulance Service. In your package, you've got the interlocal agreements, these are agreements that we do every year with them. I trust you have a chance to read them. If it's your pleasure, we'll go ahead and go into that agreement so that the fire department and ambulance service can come out within the county of Limestone County.
So moved.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Yes.
We probably need to change this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and go back up to number 2, and that's to receive and approve the safety report concerning any accidents. I'll ask Commissioner Friday if he'll give us a report.
Have any report? I make a motion that we accept the safety report.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks for keeping me on track here. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. All right. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and or take action canceling the second commissioner court meeting in December. I think because of some conflicts of when it comes with the time of the year, that it's been recommended by one of the commissioners that we cancel this meeting. So I need to ask your pleasure on that.
I like to vote to cancel the meeting. I'll second.
We do have a motion and a second. We're gonna, any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now pass. That being said, since that's passed, let's go to item number 9, and that is to discuss and take action on an order for disbursement of salaries and routine office expenses. Natasha, do you have anything you want to say to that? I mean, I know this is something that we want to be able to pay the bills, but we got to be able to approve it. These are just going to be primarily regular expenses.
It's gonna be, basically with y'all canceling the last meeting of the month, we would not be able to pay bills. They would not be sent out and be until the 1st of January. So if y'all do this order, you're giving them the treasurer's office and myself the authority to go ahead and sign the bills. They're going out before you ever get the approval. You'll be approving them after the fact.
I move we approve the order for disbursement of salaries.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. So we've got primarily that takes care of most of the action that we have. We're going to wait until 9:15 to get started on this. That's when we have it posted. I want to make sure, before we start the public hearing, I'm going to get some groundwork. I want everyone to remember that this is a courtroom, and our commissioners' court meetings follow the same rules and guidelines as when we're having court in here, right? I'm going to ask that everyone be polite, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't take anything personal. If I ask you to sit down or if you start getting loud, I'm going to ask you to be quiet. But we're going to ask that we all be respectful today. One thing that I have found for sure is that in situations like this, you can't make everybody happy. Someone's going to be upset. We know that. There's no way around it. And as commissioners and the county judge, we strive to try to make as many people happy with what we do and thinking we're doing the right thing. So it's very hard for us to do that. I will ask right now, as everyone signed up that wants to speak, I need to make sure that if anyone wants to speak, that they sign up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and follow the same routine that we do under citizen comments. We're going to give everyone a chance to speak that wants to speak. So please sign up, and we will be able to give you a knowledge by everybody. What I'm going to do, and I've got it where I can time everyone. And once again, at the risk of being rude, we're going to have to follow a little bit of an order. So at 2.5 minutes, I'm going to do this, wherever you're speaking at. At 3 minutes, I'm going to do this. Now, I don't expect you just to say, and I think, and you have to quit when that radio goes. Please, help us out here. We want to hear from everybody. I know there's folks here for it, folks here that are against it. Trying to think if there's anything else, before we actually open the meeting. We can go ahead and, if everyone's okay with this, and I will allow anyone else that comes in a chance to get on the list, but we can go ahead and get started with y'all. Is there anybody else that wants to speak that has not signed the sheet? Because we really want to let you speak if you like. And so if that being the case, actually, if you'll handle the sheet. All right. Okay. We are going to open this, the meeting up. It is an open meeting. We're going to conduct this public hearing on the creation of a reinvestment zone for the purpose of a possible tax abatement to provide economic development within the county. Okay. At this time, I'm going to invite Mr. Dan Giat to speak. Mr. Giat.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here today. Hey, there was some confusion. I was in a meeting yesterday, and I thought I'd just take a moment to help everybody understand exactly what we're talking about. When you're talking about a reinvestment zone, that's the last step before you issue corporate welfare. And the judge is not going to want us to open our phones today, but if you were to type in, for instance, 313, what you would get on your Google search is 313 corporate welfare. That's the Texas Observer. The very next article, corporate welfare program, company leaves schools broke. That's the Texas Observer. The third article, Texas needs more information on wasteful 313. That's the Houston Chronicle. That's not quite a conservative publication, okay? This thing crossed all social, political boundaries, all right? The reason they get away with it is because the state fund in the 313 is $10 billion in the hole, okay? And they expect it to go $1 billion annually through 2023. This thing has caused us a lot of pain. The only point I want to make is this is available for everybody. This is easy to understand. This is not a complicated issue. It's sunset, and it's sunset for a reason. The law is going away. I want to turn my attention right now to the Coolidge Independent School District. I've been doing some research on Coolidge, and interesting enough, Coolidge is the best funded school district in Limestone County. I was not aware of that. Coolidge actually, and this is coming from the National Center for Education Statistics. This is published. This is a federal agency keeping data for us, okay? And if you were to look at, let me tell you what the state average is. The state average in Texas is $12,612 per student, okay? Mahia is at $11,929, less than the state average, okay? Groesbeck is at $12,417. Remember, the state's at $12,612. Groesbeck is less than the state average per student. Coolidge is at $13,579 per student. That's above the state average. That's the richest school district in our county. Okay? So as we talk about corporate welfare, let's be really clear about who needs the money and who doesn't need the money. Coolidge, of all school districts, is well funded. We have issues in Coolidge. We absolutely have issues, but they're not financial issues. I want to turn your attention now to the landowners. I've spent some time at the courthouse here the last few weeks, and the reinvestment zone is like a goalpost. They continue to move the reinvestment zone on us. So every time they move the reinvestment zone, we got to go to work, and we got to try to figure out who's in and who's out. So I've been down at the courthouse. There's 47 people currently in the reinvestment zone, and that could have changed, but of the publication in the newspaper, it was 47 people. I looked up every one of them. I know where their home address is, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Judge, can I defer my time?
No, sir, we're not going to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giat. Okay, let's keep going then.
You gotta wait till yourself.
Once again, let's maintain order in here. We now have a Mrs. Let me clear this. and we have Mrs. Joy Murphy. And you can stand right there, you don't have to look over if you like. You can? Okay.
Is there a mic here on the podium?
No, ma'am, we just record it though, it's being recorded, so if you don't mind, speak up just a little bit.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. And the Honorable Richard Duncan and Commissioners, Mr. Sadler, Mr. Baker, Mr. Friday, and Mr. Forrest. Again, thank you for your time today. This morning, I am speaking to you in support for the NG project in Limestone County. My name is Joy Bounce Murphy, and my cousin Ben Gordon is also present today in support of the windmill project, my husband as well. Ben Gordon and I own a family farm in Coolidge, Texas. Our family farm has been in continuous operation since 1880, and it is registered as a Texas Family Land Heritage Farm. Our Gordon, Burney, Holly, and Luss families were early pioneer settlers in Limestone County. We have very deep roots here. We support the Untitled project for many reasons and support the creation of the tax incentivized zones. We support the county leaders in negotiating this process with NG. Additional reasons why my family and I support this. Number one, it provides money for the school districts. That's all the school districts in Limestone County. As a former teacher and high school principal, I am fully aware of the need of additional funding in education. It is the lifeblood for technology, teacher training. The attracting of quality teachers requires an attractive salary, better facilities. Additionally, it provides jobs in the county. More than 100,000 people are employed in wind production in the U.S. today. It is estimated that 600,000 jobs will be created by wind energy in the year of 2050. It will return vibrancy and growth to this area. And as a child, I remember Coolidge, Texas, when I would visit with my grandmother. It was a vibrant town. Now, I don't know how many of you have been through Coolidge lately, but I don't think you would call it a vibrant town. Okay, now hold on to your seat when I tell you. Coolidge had a movie theater when I was a child. Okay?
I appreciate it, I'm sorry you time.
Oh, no. Thank you so much.
And
We
now,
support it, and thank you.
I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna change the, form just a little bit. 3 minutes is going by pretty fast. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna increase this just another minute and let Mr. Guion and Ms. Murphy to speak, again, if y'all want to, another minute, if that will help out any. It seems like you're not able to get your points across, and we don't have that many, and we want to be as fair as we can be. So, Mr. Guion, if you want to say something else, I'll give you another minute, and then I'll give you another minute to finish up with that. That's it. Unless the commissioner has any objection to that.
Would you like to get the speakers list?
No, he said you could have.
Yeah, were you here?
Every case.
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Once again, just trying to be fair.
Sure, I understand. I appreciate it, Judge. I really do. Broke my concentration at the moment in time, but to the lady's point, actually, we researched the reinvestment zone as they continue to reconfigure and move it on us. There are 47 people in that reinvestment zone. Of the 47, based on the research we did, there are 14 people of that 47 that have addresses in Limestone County. So if you think about the flow of money on royalties or any other monies associated with that project, it's out of county. They've agreed to 2 jobs. I'm with you. The whole thing was set up to create jobs. We've agreed to 2 jobs and the money's flowing out of the county. And we're gonna be stuck with decades of these towers hanging over the top of us in Coolidge. And if you care about the land and if you care about Coolidge, this is good business for us.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Murphy, if you want to speak more about the,
Wrapping up.
yes, please. Once again, I'm just trying to be as fair to everyone here, and we don't have that many, so I think it'll work out fine.
Wind power is cost effective. It is land-based utility scale wind is one of the lowest priced energy sources available today. Additionally, the United States growth in United States competition in the world is going to be based on wind energy and solar energy. So it's way beyond Limestone County. We're really being forward thinking with this in our country. New wind projects account for annual investments of over $10 billion in the United States economy. Wind energy is a clean fuel source. Turbines do not produce atmospheric emissions, acid rain, smog, or greenhouse gases. Wind energy is a domestic source of energy. It's abundant and inexhaustible. Wind energy is sustainable. Wind energy is a form of solar energy.
Okay, Ms. Murphy, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming today.
Thank you for supporting the project.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead then and visit, is there a Ed Jacob?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can I just stand here?
Yes, sir, that'd be fine.
I appreciate the judge allowing us all to meet today. And so thank you, Judge, Commissioners, fellow residents. I'm gonna be short because I have experience in the energy business. And my concern is what happens when the life of these wind turbines, wind farms, runs its course over time. There are existing wind farms today that were put together, manufactured, installed in the panhandle of Oklahoma in 2012. The company went bankrupt. It was bought by another company. It's out of Dallas. I can give you the names if you want. We don't have enough time to go into detail. But it was left up to the taxpayers of the county and the state to decommission and ultimately dispose of those wind turbines. That was in 2018. So it was a 6-year life period. There are a lot of wind turbines, as you said, in the United States. I would argue with about the cost of energy. It is today competitive with other energy costs. Take out the government's subsidies and it becomes extremely high. All my concern is let's look forward, because the taxpayers end up having to pay in these other cases for the removal and disposal of these wind farms. And they're sizable, incredibly sizable. I know for a fact that to dispose, to remove a wind turbine is $1 million to $1.5 million without considering the cost of this disposal. That's just to take it down. Most of that time is because you can't remove it in wind conditions. You have to wait to minimum wind speed in order for the crane to operate to remove that wind turbine. That's a taxpayer issue that's going to be faced in this county in the future. I'm just asking the county commissioners, judge, please consider that cost and that liability, because there aren't those liabilities covered in some of these contracts, particularly contracts in Limestone County. So that's not, I don't know if we're confirming time. You said we're not, but I just wanted to make sure the county commissioners realize there is an ongoing liability that may lie at the doorstep of Limestone County and its taxpayers.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, we'll hear from Darrell Robinson.
Thank you, John. I understand you're not allowing us to defer time. I was gonna have Dan, he did a lot more homework than I have, but all I can say is to look out the window, see these things, and hear, which I don't have to yet, and by God's grace, I won't have to. One of these days, I'll still be around when these things are still standing. And I don't want to have to come back up here and tell you guys, we messed up. You look at on the YouTube, what's anything on YouTube, but it shows this farm in the panhandle of Oklahoma. These things are standing, blades are off of them. Oil has run down the towers, and I don't know, there's probably 300 or 400 gallons of mineral oil or oil in there. I don't think it's mineral. But several of the towers have fallen over. They've fallen over into other people's property. They can't move them. Nobody can touch them. Nobody will can touch them. These things are made out of the country. We can't dispose of them in this country. We can't even take them down. I mean, when they fall over, this one fell over on the man's barn, where he can't get access to his barn. And of course, the state's not going to do anything. The company is certainly not going to do anything. I mean, we're going to look at that all around here. Hopefully 2 or 3 miles from my place. I don't want to see them out there and years later wonder why we did this. That's about all I have.
Thank you very much. Mr. John Reddick.
Greetings. Y'all can all lighten up a little bit, smile a little bit. It's not going to be the end of the world on all this stuff. Judge, commissioners, it's good to see y'all. I'm too, like some of the others, I have had some vested interest in renewable energy, and I'm not totally against different types of renewable energy. I'm kind of a big fan of solar. I kind of like that sort of thing. And been involved in the solar company, but wind, I'm kind of a straightforward person, so I'll just tell you, wind is ridiculous. And here's why. Every one of those turbines cost about $2.3 million on the low end to $4 million, depending on how many megawatts that they put out. So you got 150 of them up there going into Waco. So do the multiplication there. Costs $42,000 to $48,000 each per year to maintain one. So we talked about 600,000 jobs, or how many ever buy renewable by 2050. You will all be dead. And you're not going to be benefiting from any of that. You're not going to be benefiting from it anyways. Now and then, I've talked to some of the commissioners, and they say they're against the abatement. But by creating the economic empowerment zone, they're really talking out of both sides of their mouth that way, because you're letting the economic empowerment zone give the abatement. So you can be directly against the abatement, but if you create the economic empowerment zone, you're actually voting for it. So it's double dipping. Because when you do the figures about what these things cost, they're totally subsidized by the government. There's no possible way that they can ever pay for themselves over the course of time. Zero possible. I mean, it's just not there. So what happens is you give them what, $20 million abatement? What are we looking at? Is that it? 20 million, something like that? How much for the abatement?
20 million.
20 million? So you give them $29 million abatement, where they get all this great tax break.
It's 100% abatement, it's 20 million in lieu.
Okay. So they get all this big tax break, and then it's subsidized by the government. And that's you and I, because see, the government doesn't, they like to tell you the government makes money, the government does not make money. The government takes money from you and me. And then they pay for stuff with our money. So the government doesn't make any money. So when they say subsidies, they're just simply saying the taxpayers are gonna fund this thing. So it's double dipping. You're gonna be giving them a tax credit, and then you're going to be paying for it through your taxes. So it makes no sense. It doesn't matter how many jobs they create or how long it may create. It's going to eventually fizzle out because renewable energy is still in its infancy compared to solar. Has a little bit more, I think, than wind. Wind doesn't have any at all. So I think if you look at the numbers all the way around, it's not good for the county, not good for landowners, because people that have land bordering the wind farms, their land values are going to drop overnight. And that's important. And I think it's important for us to consider everybody, not just a few people. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay. Brandon Westlake.
Judge, commissioners, just want to thank y'all for putting this on the agenda, having a public hearing. Again, just want to state that this is about a reinvestment zone today. So the reinvestment zone is set to incentivize businesses or individuals to invest in the county, right? And put investment in that area, which will increase the tax base of the county and do that. And just want to thank y'all and appreciate y'all putting that on the agenda.
Okay. Thanks, sir. You're gonna have to forgive me, John, is it, Fedor?
Fedor.
Okay.
Speak to some of the people that spoke before.
I think I've had trouble with your name other than the first.
Just like you spelled it. No worries. Judge, commissioners, thank you. My name is John Fedorko. I actually work for Energy Renewables, and I'm happy to be here to talk about the reinvestment zone that's before us. As Brandon said, this is really just creating the economic conditions so that you can incentivize economic development inside the rough four corners of the polygon that we publish in the newspaper. And that's all it does. We haven't approached the county about an abatement. It does foster the conditions for us to go to the school district to work on a value limitation with them. And so that what we're basically doing is creating the economic conditions of what would happen if a wind farm were to come here. And I want to thank you guys for an open mind in considering that. I would like to address, though, and Brandon mentioned that, what we're really talking about is the creation of the reinvestment zone. There has been some stuff that said that I don't want to let go unchecked necessarily. With respect to the school district, Coolidge ISD, it is a undeniable fact that Coolidge ISD, and it's counterintuitive, but they will net more money if they grant the value limitation as opposed to if they don't. The comptroller controls that. The school district cannot grant us a value limitation if they do not net more money in the long run. And that can be corroborated by the superintendent or by the consultant that they hired to prove that. So it may be true, I'm gonna assume it's a fact that Coolidge ISD students get more per head, but in a way, that guy, Superintendent Lowry, he owes a fiduciary duty to his kids. And if he can get more money, why shouldn't he? That's his job. With respect to, sir, you raised a very good point about decommissioning. I want to thank you for raising that. Last year, the Senate passed a bill that required wind farms and solar farms to post a decommissioning bond by year 10 of their operational life. So we go for about 30 years. I think solar goes for about 40.
How much is the bond?
The bond is for the value as set by an independent engineer minus the then existing salvage costs. So you can salvage the iron, the copper, and the rare earth magnets. So if it costs $15 million to take down and there's $3 million to scrap, you have to post a bond for $12 million. Angie had that provision in its lease before the Senate even passed that bill, because we deal with people around kitchen tables all the time, but they understand what's going to happen 30 years from now. How's my land going to get put back to its original state? So that it's a valid question, but it's all bonded now, and it has to be bonded by law. And I think some other people were talking about aesthetics, but that's not really the purpose of this vote. This vote is whether or not we create a reinvestment zone so that we can potentially work out a deal with the school district, potentially work out a deal with the county, and bring wind farms to these people, as Ms. Murphy stated, who voluntarily agreed to be in our project. We are making a commitment, it's a quid pro quo, right? Because I'm saying I will pay this amount of tax for the next 10 years, and I will not argue over value, I will not litigate against the county or the appraisal district. That's it. That incentivizes economic development, and that's what we like the Commissioners Court to consider when they think about this. And I won't even make you get to your red card, Judge. Thank you for your time.
Judge, can we ask questions regarding?
We're gonna listen to everyone right now, and then if we have time, we may do that. Okay. So we can get started. Bill Allen.
Judge, I don't believe I can add anything to what has already been said.
All right, then. I can't, Maura Leach.
That was me.
Did I say it wrong?
No, Laura, like
Laura.
Laura.
All right.
I would like one of the questions that I'm concerned about is if this energy company is having discussions with the superintendent of the school district, who is obviously conflicted because when we made it aware to the school district that the school board members as well as the superintendent were conflicted, they at that point signed affidavits, and this was in November, and put them on their school website. When you have a conflict of interest, when it comes to 176, you can't even engage with any energy companies or any tax abatements or reinvestment zones. And I bring this to y'all's attention because this has been a pattern with NG. They give the information, this is gonna generate jobs, they sell the school district on it's gonna bring you money. If you look at the Prairie Hill Wind project that was done by NG, at that point, the industry standards was 1 job for every 15 turbines. The superintendent and Mart actually said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll take the 7 jobs instead of the 10 jobs. Now they're telling us it's 1 employee for every 20 turbines. So for this county and this tax abatement, this is only going to provide 2 full-time jobs. And if you look at everything that was submitted to the state comptroller's office, it's costing a lot more money and a lot more people to do 39 wind turbines versus the 110 that they did in Prairie Hill. So I challenge y'all to look at it because I feel like these energy companies are coming in and it's all about them. They buddy up to y'all, they make you trust them. From what I understand, they are offering their attorneys and their tax consultants to give you guys advice, and they're giving you very bad advice. In September 1 of 2019, there was a House bill passed called 3143. It's requiring anybody that's getting into a tax abatement or reinvestment zone and a tax abatement, the Chapter 313, the guidelines you have to follow. 1, you have to have a public hearing for guidelines and criteria. I watched the guidelines and criteria y'all had for Waco Solar. No one talked about the guidelines and criteria. All of a sudden, you guys said it's an update. I looked at the guidelines and criteria. Y'all didn't update it. You didn't discuss it. You adopted it. And you adopted it on a day that wasn't even in session. The date that was adopted was on a Thursday. You guys did not have an executive session. There was no public hearing. No one could come to the board and say, hey, I don't like these guidelines and criteria that are letting you guys waive all these jobs and make big requirements less than what they should be. Second step is there has to be a 7-day public notice for the reinvestment zone, which is great. I appreciate y'all doing that, but the public notice in the paper was for a reinvestment zone and a tax abatement hearing. That does not match up with what's on the agenda today. And if you look at the paper, one of the things they also have to require is the cost of the project, all the property owners' names, and the match. The map in the public hearing changed from what was submitted to the state. The reinvestment zone map looks nothing the same. So all I'm saying is, I'm not sure why we're having this discussion, because right now we're not even on the same page as the state comptroller nor the attorney general. That's all I have.
Okay, Gary Isbell.
I live in Limestone County, and I have land in America County. And it's all coming through that way. Took me most of my life to pay for my property. And now somebody gets to put these eyesores, everything around me,
And, I don't think that's right. I had a neighbor recently, 3 years ago, bought a piece of property right next to me from Houston. He raised buffaloes. And I asked him when they were coming around asking, about the wind farm, want people to sign up and everything. He said, what? There's a wind farm coming up here? I would have never bought this property if I know there was even a chance of one coming up here. So y'all really need to take a hard look at what it's gonna do to our valuable land. And also, I've got 195 signatures that is against this. The sad thing is, every one of them knew nothing. They still know nothing, and I'm just scratching the surface on this. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thanks, sir. All right, y'all, whoever this last one is, you're gonna have to help me on.
I am Harris.
Okay, sir. It's
Your Honor.
It's Harris?
Yes,
Okay, got it.
all my concerns have been addressed right now. I appreciate your time.
Okay. At that point, everyone that signed up has spoken. You know, we want to be as fair as we can. I'm trying to give extra time. I think we've heard. I will speak for all the commissioners on one thing. This has been the hardest thing that I've done since I've been the county judge in Limestone County. We have really tried to do what's right, believe it or not. Some people disagree with that. But I will tell you right now, that these commissioners, want to do what's best for all of Limestone County, including precinct 2, precinct 4, precinct 3, and precinct 1. And so with that being said, I appreciate y'all coming. I do really appreciate y'all being respectful to one another. At this time, unless there's any other comments by anybody, anything else that we can have, we're going to close this public hearing. Go ahead, I'm gonna give you just a minute. What do you got?
I've heard everyone talk about economic this and economic that. I'm new to the area, I've only been here a year. I live outside of Coolidge. I have an autistic grandson that is hypersensitive. And these machines drive him bananas. We moved out here so he could have peace and he wouldn't be sensory overloaded. All of this stuff coming within 4 miles of us, he's not gonna be able to live here. Y'all haven't considered the disabled people that this is gonna affect. And it's not just mobility, I'm talking the vibrations that these things put off and the sounds that they make. It's unbearable.
Okay, thanks for your time. If there's not anybody else, we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing this time. I'm going to then move down to item number 6 under the regular agenda. And that is we are going to discuss and take action on the creation of a reinvestment zone. And I will ask for a motion.
Judge, can we discuss it first?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to verify something that I understand, that I will make sure it's correct. Is it in fact correct that if we do not create a reinvestment zone at the county level, that Coolidge ISD can create the investment zone themselves?
That's what I have been told by our attorney.
Superintendent Lowry, do you know the answer to that question? Correct. It is correct. So if we did not approve the reinvestment zone today, that does not kill the reinvestment zone. I understand the Bear County tabled it yesterday to do theirs. Reinvestment zone is created so they can come here. Doesn't necessarily mean we're giving a rebate. If we were so inclined, if you create an investment zone, we would still have the ability to give a rebate if we chose to. Obviously, y'all could do the values. I just wanted to verify that, make sure that this doesn't, if we did not approve a reinvestment zone, that project could still go on through the city of Coolidge for the benefit of their children and their taxpayer account. That's what I wanted to make sure.
Okay. Just from the commissioner down, unless they have a question for the public, any other discussion? That being the case, the item on the agenda is the creation of the reinvestment zone, and that's what we're talking about today, not the abatement, just the reinvestment.
Are you asking for a motion?
I'm asking for a motion. Okay, I'll ask one last time, is there a motion to approve this agenda item? That being the case, we're going to go ahead and pass that item and not take any action on doing that. The next item that we have on our agenda is a public hearing at 10 o'clock. We'll stand in a recess until 10 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Yes. I've been